Welcome back. Addressing the inaugural session of the Russian-African Economic Forum in Sochi, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi today asserted that the event enhances communication among African peoples on the one hand and between Africa and Russia on the other, in line with the 2063 African Development Agenda objectives. President al-Sisi asserted the importance of investing in manpower in order to realize the aspired development targets across Africa. For his part, Russian President Vladimir Putin said the forum offers a great opportunity to discuss a set of important economic files in light of the pivotal role that Africa plays in global economic development. Prior to the forum, the two leaders were engaged in summit talks, during which President al-Sisi expressed hope for larger Russian participation in the stepped-up economic development efforts in the Black Continent, deeming Moscow a key partner to Africa. Bilateral cooperation on Al-Dab'a's nuclear power station project was also tackled. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has been engaged in a flurry of political and economic activity as part of his current visit to the Russian resort of Sochi, where he is co-chairing and participating in the first version of the Russia-Africa Summit.
On the sidelines of the Russia-Africa Summit held in the Russian resort of Sochi, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Russian President Vladimir Putin co-chaired a meeting of chiefs of the largest African economic blocs. Addressing the gathering, President al-Sisi said that Africa made notable progress towards economic integration, largely thanks to the economic bloc's pivotal role in consolidating joint African action. The president said that upgrading the Black Continent's infrastructure remains a top priority as directly influencing the African peoples and raising economic growth rates on the continental level. The head of state also urged enhancing African investments with Russia, which will serve the interests of both parties. As part of his current visit to Sochi, President al-Sisi received a number of African politicians and key businessmen with the aim of boosting bilateral ties and on the political and economic fronts. President al-Sisi met with South Sudanese President Salva Kiir as well as the President of Chad, Idriss Déby. The visit comes at an important time where Egypt is deemed as the first economic partner to Russia, whether in the Middle East or in Africa, with the volume of the two countries' trade exchange amounting to 40%. The summit, the first of its kind, gains a special significance in light of Egypt's chairmanship of the African Union and its broadened and balanced international ties with regional and African peoples based on reciprocal interests. It is worthy mention that Egypt's long historic ties and cooperation with Russia is best embodied through the co-launch of the summit within the framework of the 2063 Africa Agenda targets.
القاهرة وموسكو شراكة استراتيجية، علاقات سياسية واقتصادية ودبلوماسية انطلقت قبل 76 عاماً، توطدت خلالها روابط متميزة في مختلف الأصعدة على مدار تلك العقود. شهدت السنوات الأخيرة تعاوناً وتطوراً نوعياً في العلاقات المصرية الروسية في جميع المجالات، أبرزها في مجال الطاقة، متمثلاً في محطة الضبعة النووية، ثاني أكبر مشروع للطاقة في تاريخ مصر، بقدرة إنتاجية تبلغ 4800 ميجاوات بتكلفة تتجاوز 21.3 مليار دولار. كذلك التعاون المصري الروسي في إنشاء المنطقة الصناعية الروسية شرق بورسعيد، والتي تعد من أكبر المشروعات القومية في مصر باستثمارات تقدر ب 6.9 مليار دولار وعلى مساحة تبلغ 5.25 كيلومترا. في مجال النقل والمواصلات تم توقيع عقود توريد 1300 عربة سكك حديد جديدة بتكلفة تناهز 22 مليار دولار لتكون الأضخم في تاريخ السكك الحديدية المصرية. كما شهدت السنوات الأخيرة زيادة مضطردة في نسبة حجم التبادل التجاري بين البلدين، كذلك زيادة في نسبة الصادرات المصرية إلى روسيا، ووصل عدد الشركات الروسية التي تستثمر في مصر إلى 472 شركة حتى عام 2018. العلاقات المصرية الروسية لتحقيق المصالح المشتركة.
Back home, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli chaired today the weekly cabinet meeting, which mainly focused on the outcome of his recent visit to the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C. Madbouli said his meetings with senior U.S. officials granted him the opportunity to elaborate on Egypt's ongoing efforts to upgrade different sectors. He also clarified the country's stance on the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, reiterating that Egypt does not oppose any development programs in Nile Basin countries unless they negatively influence Egypt's water security. He expressed contempt over remarks made by the International Monetary Fund chief, asserting that the successful application of the government's adopted economic reform program is a role model for the fund's work in other countries. The Prime Minister described a recent visit by a Kuwaiti delegation to Egypt as being fruitful, where they showed willingness to increase investments and agreed with Egyptian officials on funding the second phase of the Sinai Peninsula Development Program. The meeting further reviewed a World Bank report on the means of developing human resources through the projected upgrade of education in the country. Egypt expressed today that it has been following with grave concern the remarks made by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed before the Ethiopian Parliament regarding the Renaissance Dam. A Foreign Ministry statement deemed the remarks unacceptable, having conveyed negative signs on the African country's tackling of the file. The statement rejected as inappropriate proposing the military option as a way for solving the dam's dispute, asserting that this matter is in direct contradiction to the basic principles of the African Union. The ministry asserted that Egypt, unlike Ethiopia, dealt with the dam's file only through negotiations in line with relevant international law. The statement went on to say that as part of its keenness on breaking the deadlock in the talks, Egypt accepted an invitation by the United States hosting a meeting of the Egyptian, Sudanese, and Ethiopian foreign ministers in a bid to dissolve the stalemate. The Egyptian and Jordanian armed forces today carried out a joint annual drill codenamed Al-Aqaba 5. The troops will be conducting over a few days field combat exercises in the southern military zone near the Red Sea coastal line. During the first phase, land, naval, and elite forces were lined up and the national anthem of both countries were played. The maneuver includes land and maritime activities, in addition to lectures to unify operational concepts and train the troops to jointly plan, coordinate, and engage in action against all regional threats and challenges.